Hi, I'm Mallory Iserloh, and today Marissa and I are going to be introducing the effective lesson to you. It's Chapter 7. So some of our learning outcomes are right here. Define direct instruction and when it's appropriate to use. Describe how a direct instruction lesson is taught. Discuss what research on direct instruction suggests for classroom practice. Describe how to best teach for transfer of learning, and identify instructional situations in which discussion is most useful. These come from the textbook on the first page of the chapter. These are some questions you should be able to answer. They're the headings of every section in the textbook. What is direct instruction? How is it taught? How does the research methods inform teaching? How do students learn and transfer concepts? And how are discussions used in instruction? This is my part. It was the first part of the chapter. What makes a lesson effective? Well, you have to use many different teaching methods. You use different strategies to transmit information in ways that are most likely to help students understand, incorporate, and use new concepts and skills. So you want to do anything you can that's different and just get their mind rolling in a different way. You want to have a purpose for the lesson, and you want to have high expectations for the students. You want to have space for student thinking and discussion, so you want to have questions for them that can allow them to talk to each other and to the teacher. And you want to have some time for reflection so that you can talk about how the lesson worked and didn't work with your students. So direct instruction is an approach to teaching, and it is characterized by the teacher transmitting information directly to the students. The lessons are goal-oriented, and they're structured by the teacher usually. So it's part of those teaching philosophies that are teacher-centered, not student-centered. So the teacher is pretty much the one in control of the lesson. Class time is structured to reach the goal of the lesson as efficiently and quickly as possible. And these types of lessons are good for information or skills that all students must master. So you don't want something that's very individualized. You want something that's general and everybody has to know. So these are the stages of a direct instruction lesson. The first stage is bringing students up to date on anything that they need to know, which is kind of going over their prerequisites. The second stage is tell students what they're going to learn, because you want it to be very clear, your expectations of the lesson and what you want them to take away from it. The third stage is devoting the lesson to teaching new information or skills. So this is the time where you talk entirely about the new information you want them to learn. And then the last stage is I, we, you, which talks about the teacher, I, giving the information, we, doing examples together, with or without help from the teacher, and then you, the student, doing it completely by themselves. So how is a direct instruction lesson taught? Well, the general lesson structure varies completely depending on the students, the grade level, and the subject that's being taught. The sequence of activities in the lesson needs to follow along a logical path. So that means you first start with getting students interested in what the lesson's going to be about. You present new information to them. You allow them to practice their new knowledge or skills, so that's like examples and working independently or with groups, and then you assess them with either a test, a quiz, or some form. So, presenting this lesson. The first really important thing is planning the lesson so that the reasons for teaching and learning are clear. You want students to know what is expected of them and why. And you want students to know what you're expecting yourself to do and why. This provides a clear framework for materials and information and the learning activities. So it's basically the structure of your lesson plan. Orienting students to a lesson, you want them to be positive about the lesson. You want them to be excited to learn, and you want to have a good climate in the classroom to promote learning. Reviewing the prerequisites, basically just going over anything that they need to know, especially in math. They need to know how to add before they can multiply. So you want them to know their prerequisites, and you want to make sure they know them completely so that you can build off of those skills. Presenting the new material, you want it to be logical, so you want to go in order of how it would make sense. You want it to be organized, and you want to be clear. You want clarity in your lesson, and that means like no other unnecessary topics. Use really simple language to get your point across. And the last two are conducting learning probes and providing independent practice. Conducting learning probes is basically making sure they understand, and providing independent practice is examples and homework and quizzes. Okay. A learning probe is a method such as questioning that help teachers find out whether students understand a lesson. So it's checking for understanding and questions. You can either do this with the Socratic method, getting students to the next mental step that you want them at, or have students generate some of their own. Sometimes this is more effective because they can produce their own questions for you and for other students, and it fosters a lot more discussion. And then it's Marissa's turn now.